I call this meeting of the Magnolia Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present and that this meeting has been duly called and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Opens Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. At this time, if everyone would stand, Mrs. Christy Baker will lead us in our invocation.
It's a long-standing tradition that we pray before our meetings. If you'd like to join us, please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight and we ask that you continue to watch over our district and all of the residents in our community. We ask that you keep everyone safe during this nasty weather that we have. We ask that you please watch over the decisions made by this board and that we will represent the people that we are elected to represent well. We thank you so much for all of the accomplishments that will be recognized tonight, for all of the students who are outstanding in many different ways. And we continue to praise your name for all of our gifts and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. If everybody continue to stay stood, we have our students of the month, Dylan Morris of Magnolia West High School and Victor Gallivan of Smith Elementary to come forward and please recite the pledges. Dylan will start out with the U.S., followed by Victor saying the Texas pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Now, I would like to have Smith Elementary Principal Ms. Rivera to please come forward and present our Elementary Student of the Month.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone, and I want to thank the board and Dr. Stevens for this opportunity to present to you one of Smith Elementary's best and brightest. So I am happy to present to you Mr. Victor Galvan as the District Student of the Month from Smith Elementary. And I will tell you, this was such a hard decision. I asked the fourth grade teachers. We narrowed it down from like 4, then to 3, then the final 2. I couldn't make the decision, so I actually went to the specials teachers, because if anyone can tell you how kids really act, it's the specials teachers. And hands down, they all said that Victor was our kid. So tonight, Victor is joined by his parents, Alva and Victor Sr., his younger brother, Hector, who is a first grader at Smith, and his older sister, Catherine, who is a 5th grader at Bear Branch Intermediate School. He also is joined by his aunt and his uncle, Alicia and Jose Millan, and his cousin, Benjamin. So thank you so much for joining us. So, like I said, Victor is a 4th grader, and he has been at Smith Elementary since he was in pre-K. He was selected to represent Smith because he embodies all of the character traits that we value. Hands down, and for everyone who meets him says how he's responsible, he's kind, and he consistently puts forth his best effort to succeed in everything that he does. He is a leader among his peers, and he always has a positive attitude and a big smile to share. And I have actually witnessed him, as a 4th grader, have a good influence on some other kids who maybe had gotten in a little bit of trouble, and Victor kind of takes them under his wing, and they improve. And so from a 4th grader, that's huge. One of his 3rd grade teachers said that he is always driven and he always wants to improve himself. If he gets something wrong in an assignment, he will go and talk to the teacher and say, hey, can you please explain to me, how did I get this wrong and how can I do better next time? So he is always just, managing himself very well. Oh, I'm so sorry. He's also joined by his math teacher, Miss Casadeval, and she said that, I asked her and his reach teacher, Miss Finke, and they were using the same word to describe him. They kept saying the word eager. He's eager to learn. He's eager to do a good job. Just eager to please and to make friends. His reach teacher, Miss Finke, described how he often thinks of others, and he makes sure to include everyone and welcome everyone. So they're building a boat right now for the regatta in a few weeks, and she said that Victor even brought in some extra supplies to make sure everyone had what they needed. So a little background. Oh, also Miss Camesso is here, our assistant principal. Sorry about that. All right. Getting back to more about Victor, he is completely fluent in English and in Spanish, and he is the second youngest of 7 children. He enjoys playing with his friends, playing football, and playing with his Chihuahua, Rosa. At school, he is very busy, so he's a member of the choir, of Project REACH, Science Club, and various book clubs, and he was also just telling me he wants to be on the safety patrol. He has 2 favorite subjects. He couldn't decide between reading and math. He has read over 8 chapter books so far, and he said they're all over 200 pages long. So he is an avid reader, and he wants to attend Texas A&M University. There you go. I'll explain that later. To study astronomy. I'm just so proud of Victor. He truly has endless potential, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for him. So ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Victor Galvan. Congratulations, buddy. That's it.
All right. Last but not least, I'd like to have Magnolia West Principal, Mr. Jason Morley, come forward and present our secondary student of the month, Dylan Morris.
All right. Dr. Stevens, members of the board, thank you very much for having us. Dylan is the son of Lance and Karen Morris. Mr. Morris is right here in the front. He is the Magnolia West High School Student of the Month. He's a senior who expects to graduate in the top 7% of his class. He plans to attend Texas A&M to pursue a bachelor's degree in biology. He will then attend medical school to pursue a residency in anesthesiology. Dylan and I have an agreement that if he ever has to put me under, he's going to remember that I was nice to him. While at Magnolia West, Dylan has been involved in both the AP and IB programs, taking advanced classes since freshman year. He is a member of both National Honor Society and Mu Alpha Theta. He's been on the cross country and the track teams. He works at Tressy's Southern Kitchen 15 to 20 hours per week. He attends Magnolia's First Baptist Church and also serves as a volunteer there. Dylan has received the most outstanding student for AP English Language and Composition. A couple of weeks ago, he got the most spirited senior superlative at our pep rally. He was also named Most Valuable Fan. So Most Valuable Fan is a program we started last year where if a teacher or a staff member catches you doing something good over the course of time, we recognize you on the announcements, we give you a t-shirt. It's kind of a big deal. And so here's why Dylan got that. We were at a football game, and Dylan leads our student section, and one of my administrators went up to the student section and said, "Hey, do not shoot those confetti cannons." Well, when you translate that from English to teenager, what they heard was shoot that confetti cannon as many times as you can. 30 minutes after the game, I look up in the stands, everybody's gone. Dylan is up there with a broom sweeping up the confetti. That speaks volumes to this kid's character. I asked some of his teachers to give me some feedback on Dylan from Mr. Wheeler. Dylan is a great role model for his classmates. He has a genuine intellectual curiosity about how and why things work. He cares more about getting to the answer than the grade attached to it, and we can expect great things from him in the future. From Ms. Tomlinson, and I apologize for this one in advance. Utilizing a favorite reference for life, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Dylan would be the just right student of student personas. He provides such an endearing balance to AP literature, from digesting our current text with valuable discernment to getting me wholly off topic with a new volume of Story Time with Mrs. Tomlinson. Dylan is a student many educators of seniors know they will miss, hope to hear from in the future, and if not, know deep down that there is nothing he can't achieve. The world will love Dylan just as much as his teachers have cared for him. And then lastly, and we're going to have to talk after this one, from Ms. Hyde, his AP Stats teacher. I have Dylan for AP Stats. Last week, he asked permission if he could be on his phone briefly during my class next week. Taylor Swift tickets are going on sale at that exact time. I love that he gave me 2 weeks advance notice. Duh, it's Taylor Swift. All kidding aside, Dylan is an awesome student. I love having him in class. He is never afraid to speak up when he has a question or to help fellow students who are struggling. Dylan, thank you very much. We're very proud of you and what you've done for Magnolia West.
Congratulations, you guys. Let's give them another round of applause.
All right, well, good evening, Mr. Adcox, members of the board. Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to introduce our MISD Teacher of the Month for the month of November. Our honoree this month is Miss Carolina Nava. She is a first grade teacher at, first grade bilingual teacher at Williams Elementary. She's a 2015 graduate of U of H downtown. This is her 8th year in education and 5th year with us. And side note, Williams is one of our A-rated campuses, so she's a key part of that process. But she, finding teachers is very difficult just in general, but finding bilingual teachers is even more difficult. So the fact that she's with us, she's a blessing to our campus, and Miss Dominguez just raves about her.
Thank you. So Miss Nava is very shy. She does not like attention. She even leaned over to me just a little while ago and said, Miss Dominguez, please make this the only time you recognize me. She is a teacher. She does the right thing at all times and does not do it for the attention or the accolades or any other reason than just because she knows that's the right thing to do. She is one of those members of your team that you just know is always going to go above and beyond. She's not going to come ask for assistance. For example, if her partner is out or is running late, we already know Ms. Nava's going to take those kids. She's going to take them into her classroom. It doesn't even cross our mind. We know that it's taken care of. She is a role model, and as a matter of fact, her student teacher I can see sitting in the audience. And let me just say, Ms. Fonseca, you are incredibly lucky to be in a classroom with a teacher like Ms. Nava, because they are far and few and hard to find. She is just, you always know she's going to do the right thing. She sets the bar high for our kiddos, and she doesn't lower it. She always speaks to them with kindness, with patience, with respect, but she doesn't lower the bar. She always lets them know, this is where I expect you to achieve, and I'm going to give you the tools to get there, and she does. She was actually teaching math. She's actually a math teacher at heart. She was teaching primarily in English with Spanish support. And this year we came to her last minute, let me just add that piece, last minute, and asked her if she would mind teaching RLA, which is, she's fluent in both languages, so that's not an issue for her. But it's a mindset. She was math, now she's going to RLA. She said, I love math, but whatever you need me to do, that's what I'll do. Because she's always going to do what's right for the kids, what's right for the school. She's just going to do what's right. So I am very thankful. I thank you for loving our kids, for teaching our kids, for setting the bar high, for always doing what's right, and just for letting us know that we've got somebody on the team that we know is 100% in it. They are invested in William. She's invested in her kids. She's just an amazing staff member. So I know there's more than one person who wants to talk about Ms. Nava, so I'm going to hand it over to Ms. Rodriguez. I'm going to give you a hug. She's incredible.
So Ms. Benitez is our biliteracy specialist, and she works closely with Ms. Nava. And from both of us, we want to say we are very proud to have Ms. Nava serve as a reading teacher in our bilingual program. In her years, she has taught math and reading everything so well. Regardless of her teaching assignment, she's always flexible and ready to take the challenge and goes above and beyond for her students. Teaching for biliteracy is more than just teaching in Spanish, and we truly appreciate the time and effort that she puts into building the foundation of our emergent bilingual students, their literacy and content skills in both languages. She is an active participant in our professional development sessions and collaborative team meetings. Her content knowledge and creativity are reflected in her instruction and therefore engaging her students on a daily basis. Above all, teachers like Ms. Nava inspire our students to become confident, lifelong learners as she develops relationships with each one of them. So muchas gracias, Ms. Nava. We're very proud of you.
I relate to my students based on my real life situation. I grew up with my parents. They're school background wasn't that great, so I felt like some of my kids needed that love and support throughout their life, in school. So I wanted just to make an impact on those friends and be someone to them. First grade is the grade where they make the most growth in reading. And it's a challenge because you have a variety of different levels, but just seeing them coming in to first grade to where they end up at the end of the year reading and writing, it's just that moment that makes me feel proud of myself and happy to see that growth. Walking around, seeing my kids use those tools or that information that I've been teaching from day one and them applying it makes me proud, makes me happy seeing that effort that they're putting on their writing. It's one of those things that they made it a step further and they're excited to keep moving on. They're excited to go to the next volume in reading,
Told you it was quite a bit.
So as I sat here and I was listening to all these wonderful accolades to you, you stood there so sweetly, and you were so sweet. But as a mother, when you were thanked for loving the students, you beamed. And I'm trying not to get emotional, because as a mother, that was the most, all these wonderful things about being an educator. But as a mother, when you see someone beaming because they love their students, that's what we want. So thank you for that. So on behalf of the Magnolia Education Foundation and a weeping mother right now, HEB, Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's, Gringos, and Healing Key Spa would like to congratulate you.
Did we tell Ms. Nava that this new part of the program is the teacher has to come up here and speak a little bit about that award? Ms. Nava, thank you from the bottom of our heart for all the things you've done for kiddos in helping us become the best district in the state of Texas. And if we ever get there, it's because of teachers like you that are going to get us there. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Dr. King, I think you've got an announcement, some recognitions.
Well, good evening, Dr. Stevens, Mr. Adcox, members of the board. Thank you for having us here tonight. It's been my honor and pleasure for the last two board meetings to recognize a couple of our campus SROs. And as I've said at those meetings, and I'll say it again, I'm happy to work in a school district that prioritizes safety, and we have had a long-standing tradition and history of trying to make our campuses as safe as they can possibly be. And before a lot of school districts had decided to place officers on their campuses, we have been doing that for a very long time. And we were one of the first, if maybe not the first, to have an officer on every single one of our campuses to make sure that our kids and our staff and our parents and anybody who enters that building is safe when they're there. So we're proud to have a partnership with the Constable's Office, and we're proud to have these two officers with us. So I want to introduce them both to you. This is Deputy Brummett. Deputy Brummett is new to our district, and he is at Ellisor Elementary, and he does a wonderful job there. We're glad to have him. These guys come to work every day, and they're an example to our students, not just from a safety standpoint, but they show them that police officers, they don't have to be scary. They're not always there when you're doing something wrong. Granted, if you get pulled over for a speeding ticket, it's not always your best day, but our police officers show our students that they're members of our community here, and they're here to serve and protect us, and it's good for our students to see that side of them. And I know that I've heard wonderful things about Deputy Brummett in his short time here in our school district and the relationships he's making with the staff and the students there at Ellisor. So, Deputy Brummett, we appreciate you. Officer, we have Sergeant Park. Sergeant Park has been with our school district for 7 years. I've had the opportunity to work with Sergeant Park directly on a campus, and Sergeant Park shows up every day ready to protect our students if necessary, but also does a wonderful job with building relationships and making sure that they see him as a part of the community and a part of the staff there. And I think it really enriches all of our students' education and makes them see this as a community effort to keep them safe. And so, again, it's my pleasure tonight. I have a plaque for both of them. So, Deputy Brummett, for your service, sir, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. And Sergeant Park, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I think we'll be okay. All right. Thank you all.
gentlemen.
All right, Ms. Wood, I think we've got a whole bunch of folks over there. Are you going to tell us what this is about? Okay.
Hello?
There you go.
All right, great. So off to a great start. So tonight we recognize this month every year our National Merit and our College Board Recognition Program students who have received recognition with both of those areas. And so 2 years ago, College Board began the National Recognition Program, and in the last year or so they've broadened it up to sophomores and juniors who were invited to apply for these recognitions once they receive the PSAT and MSQT scores or their AP scores that they earned in May of 2022. So out here we have juniors and seniors who have, according to these guidelines, have met what this program requires to be recognized. So students must identify as either or both African American, Black, Hispanic, Latinx, Indigenous, or they attend a high school in a rural area or small town. They must have a GPA of 3.5 or above, and they must score in the top 10% on the PSAT and MSQT tests that they take in their community, or earn 2 AP scores of 3 or above by their sophomore year. So that's quite of a range, and you can just see academics all over this, and successful academics with this program. And so at this time, if we could have the Magnolia High School students who are going to be recognized for College Board recognition to move to the front of the area over here where Mr. Braun is.
Wow. That's amazing.
I might add, first of all, thank y'all for letting us have this opportunity to recognize these students. We had nearly 90 students between both high schools recognized. And so those that were able to attend tonight are here for both high schools. And so we're very excited about the number of growth we've had over the years with this over the last few years with this recognition.
So the Magnolia High School students before you have earned recognition either through rural and small town, Hispanic, or African American qualifications. Megan Burshausen. Jacob Bigler. Isaiah Bozarth. Christiana Coker. Allie Ebler. Madeline Ellis. Caleb Escobar. Grant Feldman. Fallon Ferguson. Luca Giannotti. Dylan Gregg. Cameron Haley Smith. Riley Hanson. Julia High. Angelique Lamb. Noelle Moores. Molly Nelson. Amanda Nunn. Aaron Pullen. Summer Reinecke. Sarah Steinbau. Caleb Sullivan. And Justin Treichel. Thank y'all. If y'all would move over to this corner for a picture and make a few rows, please.
While those students are getting set up for their picture, if the students from Magnolia West could move to the front for their recognition as well, please.
Okay, my name is Nicole Fielder. I'm the associate principal at Magnolia West High School, and we are recognizing our students here. All of these students have received one or more of the National Rural and Small Town Recognition, National Hispanic Recognition, or National Indigenous Recognition Award. Trevor Axelson, Brandon Beavers, Monica Benitez, Jackson Blank, Asher Bryant, Audrey Buckley, Chloe Cisneros, Mason Clarkson, Caitlin Condon, Tennessee Day, Faith Ebel, Emma Fincher, James Flynn, Steve Fuentes, Brian Fugate, Abby Gillen, Catherine Gillen, Abigail Jalloway, Avery Kerman, Kara Laborde, Lucas Lopez, Faith Matoka, Levi Maxwell, Bethany May, Evan McDonald, Tony Wynn, Renee Ramirez, John Rayburn, Eduardo Rios, Addison Roden, Justice Sanchez, Cole Schulmeyer, Carly Scott, Campbell Smith, Natalie Smith, Karina Sosa, Ty Watson, Brendan Wiggins, Samantha Willis, and Rebecca York. Thank you. You guys are going to move.
Let's give all of these students a big round of applause for their recognitions.
So I think this group continues to grow by the year, and it shows just what Magnolia ISD is about. We've got these great kiddos over here. More importantly, parents, thank you guys for being here and supporting your kids. That's how this happens. It's a group effort between moms and dads and our school system, and so we really appreciate the support that you give your kids as well as the support that you give our school district.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to add to that other than say, hey, I think we had some teachers and administrators that are a part of the success of these kids. And moms and dads, we just want to thank you for entrusting your children with us and for how many years that's ever been in Magnolia ISD, but we hope we've been good partners with you in that, and that we have a common vision for excellence and in academics and all other things. Because when I look at the list of these kids, it's kind of like a who's who of everything else that happens in our school district. They're involved in everything, and so we're very proud of them, and we thank you for your work with them too, and we know they're going to make a big difference. We're not through with them yet, though. So anyway, thank you all for being here tonight, and congratulations to all students here.
I think it's great, too, to see students like Victor, who's in our advanced academics program at the elementary with REACH, and he's starting that vertical alignment of what we have, our continuum. And yes, you were in REACH last year, too. Yes, you were. And just where it can end up for these students with their recognitions, with our programs that we offer, and we appreciate your support of those programs as well. At this time, we want to move to our national merit, which is a little separate from our College Board recognition, but it too is based on PSAT scores. So at this time, those students being recognized for national merit, commended. Scholars, if you'll make your way up to the front, please. While they're moving to the front, just a little background about what the National Merit Scholarship Program is. And anybody that knows me knows this is like what my bread and butter is. It's been ingrained in me since I first stepped into the world of advanced academics. And it was established in 1955. It's an academic competition. So it's an international or a national competition, but it's based on scores that are with our students in the state of Texas. You guys get to move over here to the front if you don't mind, because we don't walk that far. You guys are over here. Move on over here. There we go. So high school juniors enter the National Merit Program by taking the PSAT NMSQT. We offer PSAT to all 8th graders and all 10th graders. And then the 11th grade is what we refer to as game day, where those scores qualify them for national merit recognition. Their selection index, which is a component of all of their raw scores multiplied by 2, gives them a selection index. And that selection index varies from year to year based on the cohort of students in Texas that take that PSAT. Out of 50,000 students with those highest selection index scores, more than 2/3 receive letters of commendation. And these are what we have standing in front of you, are those that have received those letters. And as I said, it varies year to year. In Magnolia's ISD's history of National Merit Scholars, it's varied from year to year. Our highest number was 14 qualifiers in 2018. Between both high schools, and 11 qualifiers in 2017. So before you guys this evening is our 3rd highest group of National Merit Scholars that are recognized by their selection index scores. And so we're excited to present these 10 to you from a combination of both campuses. First, I'll have Mr. Braun from Magnolia High School come up and give just a brief description of those students that he's recognizing.
Amanda Montez, the daughter of Anna and Arturo Montez, plans to go to Sam Houston University and pursue a bachelor in animation. With that, she will pursue a career in animation and teaching art. She is the winner of the 2021 scholarship for the Schreiner University and the winner of the Vase Art for Animation. Outside of school, she is currently pursuing her 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. She also teaches art classes for various after-school programs with the Young Rembrandt Academy. Sheridan Prajan is here with her mother, Laura and Dawn. After school, she plans to attend Baylor University. She wants to go into pediatric dentistry. She's an AP scholar. She also won third place in district tennis, both in singles and doubles. She is in National Honor Society, Spanish National Honor Society, and Mu Alpha Theta. Annika Anderson is here with Sandra and Jeff. After high school, she plans to attend the University of Texas at Austin. She wants to pursue a career in engineering, and she is an IB diploma candidate. Aiden Clark is the son of Michelle and Brandon Clark. After high school, he is choosing currently to attend either University of North Texas or Michigan State University. He wants to work on his bachelor's in jazz studies and wants to be a professional jazz trombone player. He earned the MHS Citizenship Award. He was selected as one of the top 6 jazz trombonists in Texas through membership in the 2022 TMEA All-State Jazz Ensemble 2. He was admitted on scholarship to the Jazz at Lincoln Center Summer Jazz Academy. He's in the Wind Symphony, Marching Band, Jazz Ensemble, also MHS Chorale, the National English Honor Society, where he's an officer. Tandy Ford is here with Rance and Lori Ford. After high school, she plans to attend Texas A&M for a degree in biology and chemistry. In the summer, she went to volunteer with a pregnancy help center as well. She was a 2-year VACE State Art finalist, Best of Show art piece, his handiwork at the District Art Show. She is the Chemistry and AP US History Student of the Year. She is the drum major in the Magnolia High School Band, and she is a student leader at her church. Tristan Berger is here with his parents, Melissa and Michael. He wants to be a civil engineer. He's an Eagle Scout. He's in National English Honor Society, the Math Honor Society, the National Science Honor Society, the Chess Club. He's in the band, and he's in our jazz group.
From Magnolia West, first we would like to recognize Catherine Gillen, or Kate. She attends Magnolia West High School and is involved in the IB Diploma program. She is currently in the National Charity League, president of the Interact Club and IB United program. She is a member of National Honor Society, Student Leadership, Mu Alpha Theta, Spanish Honor Society, and Student Council. She plans to attend the University of Alabama to study nursing following graduation. We have Ty Watson. He's a student at Magnolia West. He has been participating in theater for 6 years, recently alongside the IB Diploma program for 2 years. As part of his theater activities, he recently submitted an original script to the Texas Thespians Playworks Challenge. He also has composed music for 2 game projects totaling around 20 original pieces between the two, and has been creating digital art for around 8 years, including participating in the Art Fight community event for the last 3 years. He plans to pursue higher education in Canada in art and animation.
As you can tell, these students have a lot going on, and to really be balance of what they do in the classroom and how they balance what they have on the outside of the classroom just speaks volumes to your commitment to academic excellence. And we thank you for your representing Magnolia ISD, being a National Merit Scholar. Sophomores and juniors, this is what you'll get your senior year based on PSAT scores, okay? And that's why we do that big push for you guys at both campuses, is to have you guys standing up here. So thank you guys again. Another round of applause for these phenomenal students.
All right, the next item that we have on the agenda is a recognition award. Following our last board meeting, I received a letter dated October 18th from fellow trustee Christy Baker. In that letter, she stated that she would be resigning her position as Board of Trustee to pursue other opportunities. She's been a long time and had a long time in distinguished service to MISD. She was appointed over 9 years ago. She has 3 kiddos who graduated from our Magnolia schools. She moved out here for the exact same reason I did. As a matter of fact, I think we left the same school district to come out here to bring our kiddos to these schools. They've lived here since 2006. She got 3 sons. I see her family is here. Bobby, Avery, and Grayson are out there. And she was a founding member of the Magnolia Area Republican Women. The one thing you need to know about her that I would say, if you don't already, is where her heart is. And it's always been with kiddos long before she got here. At our church, you would see her in the nursery, holding the littlest of ones that have just brought into this world. And in elementary school, she was busy in those schools, being room mom or PTA or PTO. I'll show my age. And then, we talked to her about being on the school board, and her first question was, do I have to quit doing all those other things? And it was like, well, no, you'll just do them a little differently now. So we appreciate your service, truly do. And it's been an honor to be up here and work with you for these 9 years. And I just can't thank you enough for always putting our kiddos first. So with that, I'll open it up to anybody else up here that wants to say anything.
I would just add, and me and Christy have talked a lot the last couple of weeks, but just publicly, and I love Christy, and I love her passion for Magnolia ISD. You won't find anybody that loves Magnolia more than Christy, and somebody that cares about your kids, and the teachers that teach your kids more than Christy. And that's what you want in a board member. That's what you want in a Magnolia community member collectively. As a neighbor, as a friend, we love you, and I'm going to miss you. And you've taught me a lot about what it means to have passion, about what it means to fight for what you believe in and not back down to people just because they disagree with you, and I appreciate that about you.
Christy, I just want to thank you for being a builder in our community, and that's always been really important to me is people that just absolutely, and Christy is one of these people who absolutely loves this community. She's a builder. And those are the kind of people that it's an unpaid volunteer position. And it doesn't matter whether she started building as a PTO member and PTO president. She wanted to build up her community, not just for her kids, but for everybody's children. And then I know that she progressed into some other parent organizations and booster clubs. Again, building up the community, again, volunteering all her time, effort, and passion, her talents. And then ultimately on the school board, where I've seen her, and it's an unpaid position, and she's used her time, talent, and treasure to help build up this community. And I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we all are saying so many of the same things, but I appreciate your heart, your soul, your passion that you served with, and your time and your energy. I mean, it was fantastic to see what you could pour into that, and that's what's so irreplaceable about you. And we do a lot of training to serve in the roles we do, and you don't train for that. You can't teach that. You can't train for that. So we love you, and we appreciate every bit of service and our time together, and look forward to keeping up with you and all of your next steps.
Thank you. Christy, I have words as well. Okay. So as the newest board member, I haven't had the time in years like the rest of the board, to work alongside you. But even before becoming a trustee myself, I admired you from afar in a seat as president of MEF. All that I thought and knew or observed about you was proven when having the opportunity to serve with you since the last September on the board. You stepped in during my campaign for May's election like a sister. You looked out for me, you were guiding me with advice and reminding me why it's so important to be a difference maker in our community. You have such tenacity, and you're a person who roots for others always. You encourage others to believe in themselves and their dreams. And so to close, I thank you for always standing tall and proud for MISD and always rising above, selflessly giving your leadership and whole heart to so many students, teachers, and parents. We appreciate your service and friendship that will continue for years to come. You truly are a great leader. I believe great leaders don't set out to be a leader. They set out to be a difference maker. It's never about the role, it's always about the goal. And Christy, that is what you're all about. We'll miss you. Thanks.
Wouldn't be complete without a little note from Dr. Todd here, but you know, it wasn't very long after you first got on the board, and I don't completely remember all the context, but I think it was at a football game, and I had been or was visiting with your mom, and she always kind of caught me heading up the stands there, and I know we were talking about your new role on the board, and I remember she said, Todd, you know, Christy's going to do a fantastic job for you. She was born for that role, to be on a board and to lead and to give service. And, you know, I remembered it after all that time. And it rings true with me, and it is, you know, it has been expressed by your colleagues. It's about the passion and the heart you have for education and about what happens in those classrooms. And, you know, I remember you were such a champion for some of the things that happened at Bear Branch Elementary and Bear Branch Junior High, but it wasn't long after you championed everything that happened in this district and for every kid and for every parent. And you were an advocate, and you were someone that was challenging our teachers and our staff. And so on behalf of this district and the teachers, the students, the moms and the dads, I want to thank you for your passion. I want to thank you for your vision, for helping us shape and create, you know, where we're going to become the best district in the state of Texas. And I want to tell you, we are a better district because of the time you have served and given so selflessly of your time and energy. And I want to thank your family, Adrian, and guys, for sharing Mom and your wife with us for those years. And because only a family realizes how many hours go into this work. And I want to thank you from the bottom of our heart. And we're not saying goodbye, but I know it's just a change of a role for where we've been a part of it, and you've made a difference up here. Thank you so much.
So, Adrian, if the family would come up, we'll present the plaque.
This room. I've gotten out of this as much as I've put into it. So I'm leaving this seat. I'm not leaving y'all's side. So it will continue to be a passion for me that every student in every school in this nation be given the opportunities that they want in order to be what they want to be. So that will never change. Every door that opened in front of me that they have enumerated, some of them my family could probably give you some more. It opened in front of me because when you get into a room filled with people who are passionate about the same thing you are, then other doors open for you. So if you're blessed to find something that matters that much to you, and God keeps opening doors where you get to do it bigger every single step, then you have truly lived a life fulfilled. So it started with the 3 I gave birth to, and then the boys who played football in my front yard. Now it's grown to 100,000 probably kids over my 9 years here, and 70,000 students at A&M where I do work also. So I could not be happier to have spent these years here, and I'm still going to be around, so you know where to find me. Thank you all so much.
Okay, until a vacancy or until the position is filled, Ms. Baker's resignation, she can continue to serve and have the powers and duties of this office. That's her choice. I want to remind the board that our procedure in the past has been to fill vacated positions. I know we've had a little bit of head time, and so some folks have put out some names, but the process for that is that board members submit names of candidates to the president, and those names will be discussed in executive session. So do y'all have any questions on that? I think most of y'all have been through it at least once. So I would encourage you to continue to look at the campuses, look at the parents, and see, somebody whose heart is in with our students. Couple of things before we jump to the break. One is Veterans Day was Friday, and I know for a fact there's one veteran that I know back here sitting, but I know there's more than that in this room. If you're a veteran or an active military person, would you please stand up? Thank you for your service. Also, the flowers that you see up here, the flowers came from Mag West, and the treats also. So my wife's back there, so I get to bring her flowers and treats tonight. But she knows I didn't actually go do it. But that's okay. I did bring them home, right? And then the other is, and this is a shameless plug, I think I saw Coach Berna back there. I have a son that plays football for Magnolia West. And if you haven't heard, Magnolia West won their first playoff round game last Thursday, and we're playing again this Friday. And thanks to, I don't know who tossed the coin, but thanks to 50-50 bet, it's going to actually be played at Magnolia West. So anybody that wants to attend, please come to the ranch and cheer them on. So with that, I will tell you the very first thing we're going to do after we take a break. I say 5 minutes. It's never been 5 minutes, but that sounds good. We do take a break. The very first thing that happens after that break is public speaking. So anything that's heavy on somebody's heart, they can come and speak. I encourage folks to stay to hear that, so you hear what other community members are saying. There'll be an opportunity after that to leave if you would like, or you're more than welcome to sit through the meeting, but I always encourage people, if you want to hear what's heavy on other people's hearts, to please stay. So with that, we will attempt the 5 minute. It'll be longer than that, but thank y'all again. All right. Ms. Hinkleman, I have 3 forms up here. Is that it? All right. So before we do that, I need to read the following statement. Participants must have turned in a request form 15 minutes prior to the start of this meeting, which they did. Participation is limited to 3 minutes. A timer is provided on the screen located in front of you. Once your time is up, we ask that you please return to your seat. Any complaint or charge brought against an employee by name opposition for which a resolution has not been sought in accordance with policy should be pursued through the district's grievance policy. Please note that the Board of Trustees shall not deliberate, respond, or make decisions regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda that is posted. So with that, the first one I have is Calvin Russell.
Good evening. First, I'd like to congratulate you guys on a $282 million tax increase that's not a tax increase. I hadn't been able to figure that one out yet. Some of the things in your language in the promotion of this bond was true, and some of it is untrue. The fact that there's no new tax rate increase, that's true for today. You don't know if it's going to be true next year or the year after that or whenever, but for today it's true. There was no new tax rate increase. But that doesn't mean that it's not a tax event. When you say there is $0 tax impact, that's disingenuous at best and an outright lie at the worst. You know that you only have so much tax dollars in the county, and there's so much taxes that are needed to fulfill the obligations of the school district and the various other entities. We just added $282 million, I don't know if that number is exactly right, to that tax burden. Now, just because it doesn't come out of someone's pocket that has an exemption on their property, whether they're 65 or older, or your rate doesn't increase, you guys well know that our home values have been increasing year after year after year after year, and they're going to continue to increase. And just because some people have a homestead limit where they can only go up 10%, well, it goes up 10% in perpetuity because we'll never catch up. Anyway, I wish that you guys would have been truthful and just said no tax rate in this time, but it is going to add $200 and something million to the total taxes required to satisfy this bond. It also would have been a good idea, in my opinion, to have paid off your debt before you start increasing your debt. Anyway, that's kind of it on the taxes. I'd also like to say that my wife, Ginger Russell, she probably talks up here about as much as anybody, and she has contacted you guys and sent you guys emails time after time, probably 50 plus times. Not once has there been a response. I know that you can't respond here in this arena, but you can certainly respond. And if there's no nefarious gain for us for her to come up here and be at the school board, we got other things to do. She's here because she's passionate about our kids, our 10 grandkids, and our country as a whole. So anyway, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Russell. All right, our second speaker is Ginger Russell.
Thank you. For whatever reason, I've been able to see the Marxist ideologies infiltrate our American institutions, whether that be the church or the education system. See it infiltrate the church is what led my husband and I to help finance and become the associate producer of the movies Enemy Within the Church. I've given Chris a copy if y'all want to watch it or throw it in the trash. Watching it infiltrate our education system is what led me to run for school board. During that process, it was disheartening to discover the political collusion and corruption between the district and other local government entities, sadly maintaining power and control while turning a blind eye to the infiltration of Marxist ideologies supersedes the dangers that Marxism will play on our future generation. I've emailed this board dozens of times over the years regarding my concerns, and I've never received not one response. Sadly, the school board works for the administration, doing their bidding instead of representing we the people. Despite the lies this administration has perpetrated over the years on different matters, they are not held accountable. They are rewarded with raises yearly. I've warned this board last October about a program called Imagine Learning. The school board has approved payments of $907,000 on this Marxist program. The CEO of Imagine Learning states on their website, at Imagine Learning, diversity, equity, and inclusion are central to our mission and our values. In regard to the IB program, despite IB being added to the Texas Republican platform this past summer because of my work, the curriculum, we oppose it because of its Marxist ideologies. We still continue to use it in this district. Here is IB's latest diversity, equity, and inclusion plan, which says, as the IB seeks to concrete proactive measures on diversity, equity, and inclusion, we are developing a new diversity, equity, and inclusion plan or statement. It's apparent that having a civil conversation with any of you is never going to happen. So as I have said and mentioned many times, I work around you. As chair of the Montgomery County Republican Party Education Committee, our committee is going to email the IB's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Plan to all Republican voters in the Magnolia School District. Matthew 18:6 says, but whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. I get my vindication from letters from parents and teachers who won't sign their name out of fear of ridicule, or a mother that stood back here one day and said, thank you, Ginger, for standing up. I wish y'all would take a stand against Marxism as well.
All right, our last speaker is Emily Winslow.
Okay. Good evening. I have emailed the board, the superintendent, the HR, and the Title IX officer of Magnolia ISD regarding gender discrimination on the MHS campus and received no response. As a teacher who could serve this community for years, I was expected to respond to emails within 24 hours. Are the higher-ups of this district so insulated that they cannot meet the expectations that they place on their own teachers? I worked on a campus with an administrator who created a hostile environment after I refused to allow his fellow admin to get away with harassment. He also did the following: asked a teacher how she might avoid being perceived as a bitch because she was young and attractive, told a neurodivergent teacher that she better model how to act like a normal human being, physically assaulted a staff member, attempted to pressure a young woman out of her divorce because he didn't believe in it, refused an accommodation for a staff member until she had a panic attack in front of her students, and several other incidents I cannot mention for fear of retaliation, as these women still work under him. But you already know this because I told you about it months ago. I told you how HR tried to fire me for whistleblowing and I was forced to resign to save my certificate. But it doesn't matter to you because although you are elected by people like me, you refuse to answer them. So I went to the news, who corroborated my account with 2 of the educators that were forced out. Today I'll tell you about just a few things that were sent to me when I went public about what happens here in MISD. From former teachers. One said the harassment and demeaning behavior by administrators started a month after I started. These people habitually humiliated me in front of my students and peers. It is a travesty that this behavior continues. Another said, I know people are telling you that you shouldn't have released the HR conversations because these processes must be handled correctly. Handling it correctly is how you get where I wound up. Dictated into professional solitude, unable to get any support, colleagues afraid of what happened to you will happen to them if they try to talk to you, and quietly removed from the position you've held effectively for years. Another teacher said, when I reported my harasser, they allowed him to resign. He sexually harassed multiple women and groomed younger girls. From the teacher, HR has refused to contact for months. The principal called me by name, so I stopped. It was at this point that he grabbed my face in both hands and got close to me. He said something along the lines of how he didn't care about the failure meeting. It was over, we were moving on. I remember saying, okay, just to get him to let go of me. By December, I was having panic attacks regularly and had become physically ill due to stress. And this from a student. Hi, Miss Winslow. I just saw the KRPC article after it was shared by a friend. Thank you so much for speaking out. I have personally experienced this admin's complicity and abuse at MHS, so it means a lot that these things are coming to light. Keep doing what you're doing. As it is clear that you aren't concerned about teachers, could you please act to keep students safe? Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions. Your refusal to investigate enables a dangerous man to be around young women every day. Your complicity is visible. When this escalates, you will have nobody to blame but yourselves. I request that you add investigating the principal of Magnolia High School to your agenda next month. I am also requesting that the Title IX officer responds to gender discrimination concerns.
Your time is up.
These requests are now documented in public record.
Yeah, we'll just move on. All right. So, next up we have the consent agenda. And the portion of the items are on there that are routine and can be enacted on by one motion unless separate discussion is requested. Has everybody had a chance to look at A through D? If there aren't any, ma'am, we're having a meeting here, so if you need to go on, then you need to go on. You need to. We're in the middle of a meeting, ma'am. There is decorum despite you. All right, we'll start this one more time. Moving on to our consent agenda, this portion of the agenda consists of items to be routine and will be enacted by one motion unless separate discussion is requested. Did everybody have a chance to look through A through D? Then I need a motion that we approve consent items A through D. Motion by Gary, seconded by Dasha. All in favor? Motion carries.
And I just wanted to remind the board that now on from every month, included in that is a safety audit report from the district where we check all exterior doors, interior doors on a regular basis, and you'll have access to that report every month in there.
And Dr. King, I don't know who all was in here beforehand. Dr. King did a report out on school safety before the meeting. I mean, it was a posted meeting, but anyway.
Dr. Stevens, I really appreciate that safety report. It was it was very helpful to see what our officers are doing. I appreciate that.
So a lot of work goes into
There was
that.
a lot of work and a lot of detail. I appreciate that.
All right, next up, I saw her. Where's she? Leslie Scotty, our favorite tax attorney.
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say they have a favorite tax attorney.
Well, there we go, see?
My honor.
Good evening. I am Leslie Scotty with Purdue Brandon, Fielder Collins and Mott. I'm the district's delinquent tax attorney, and I have before you a delinquent tax collection report. I will try to advance the presentation along with my presentation. So by way of reminder, these are delinquent taxes only. The county tax office does a great job of collecting the turnover yearly, and your taxpayers do a great job of paying their taxes. So over 95% of your levy gets paid before getting turned over to me. So I'm getting a very small portion of the pie to work on every year. And this report represents what we get turned over yearly. And I think all of you have heard my lovely spiel about the 20% collection penalty that is passed along to the taxpayer. They are informed this penalty will attach yearly by the tax office, and they have between February and July to pay without the collection penalty. So once they are sent the 3307 letter around April, failure to pay come July, the accounts are turned over to my office for collection, and we begin our work, and that penalty attaches by law. So we are at no cost to the school district. I will Move along with the collection report. The first account we have is the account breakdown chart. And this gives me a snapshot of where the accounts all fall in the delinquent roll. We put them into categories, and you'll see the largest category is the action pending section at 38%. Most of these are 2021 delinquencies that were turned over to us in July of this year. So we've been busy making phone calls, sending letters, doing title research, trying to contact lien holders, should there be a lien holder on the account, trying to get someone's attention, trying to get them on a payment plan, trying to get the account resolved in payment. Next largest section at 32% is the deferral section. These are persons who are 65 or older or disabled who have elected to defer payment of their taxes, and this is only available on their residence homestead account. They are only allowed one residence homestead account in the state of Texas, and this represents the folks that have opted to do that. We can't actively collect these accounts while they have a deferral status. However, the taxpayer may choose to pay during the pendency of their deferral. The next largest section is the suit litigation section. Accounts go into litigation when we fail to reach the taxpayer via phone or letter, or fail to work out an agreement, and more often than not, when served with a delinquent tax suit, I believe about 70% of the taxpayers then do proceed to get on a payment agreement, to pay the taxes, to preserve their interests in their property. We work very hard to see that they have those options available to them. On rare occasions, we do proceed to get a judgment and sell property on the courthouse steps. And if that should happen, the taxpayers do have a remedy for getting their property back if they do so in a timely manner. Next largest section is the bad address section at 9%. This section represents accounts where the mailing address is no longer valid for the taxpayer, meaning the appraisal district no longer has a good address on file, so their tax bills come back. And so we work on these accounts year-round, trying to get a better address, trying to get a hold of the taxpayer, trying to get their attention, try to resolve the delinquency. Next chart we have in your pack is the dollar range chart. This gives us an idea where the dollars are owed. Keep in mind that not all of these represent single accounts. Could be a taxpayer that has multiple delinquent properties, and we put them all together for purposes of collection efficiency. Looking at the accounts in the $10,000 range and up, that represents about 23% of the delinquent roll. The vast majority of these accounts are in a deferred status, and the remainders are either in suit or will be in suit shortly. Next chart we have is the taxes year by year chart, and this shows you that the largest percentage is the 2021 taxes at 35%. This is what we started working on in July. So at this point in the calendar, we are beginning to work these accounts into a delinquent tax suit. We've exhausted our resources with our phone calls and our letters and our title research, contacting lien holders. So those are trickling into lawsuits at this time of year. After 2021, those segments get smaller and smaller. 14 and prior, 17%. There's actually a very small percentage for each of those tax years due. And some of the reasons for those older tax years being on the roll still is that many of those have over 65 deferrals, and they have had the deferral status for some time. Could be accounts with a bad address status or accounts that may no longer be collectible. But that represents a very small percentage of what's out there. And absolutely.
Because you mentioned bad addresses, so yes. 9% of them have bad addresses. Is that typical when you look at other districts?
It certainly is. It certainly is, yes. People move along, people fail to change their address with the appraisal district, people pass away.
Okay.
And those come back to us, and we put that designation on them ourselves. This is all run from our software. So we get data from the tax office on a monthly basis. It goes into our software. So it's actually the tax office's software. However, we're able to manipulate it and categorize it.
Okay.
And so that is what we have had return mail come back to us. And we also work through the tax office's return mail through certain times of the year to see if we can figure out where they are, where they've gone, that type of thing, do a little investigative work.
And is that pretty easy to resolve?
Certainly, yes. We have collection specialists they do title research and address research all day long. And so we are continuously trying a new address in our software, although we do get the data that comes directly from the appraisal district, then it goes to the tax office, and then it comes to us. We're able to manipulate our system, change the address, and put our new address on our mail outs. So we try to resolve them continuously throughout the year.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So the next 6 charts we have are bar graphs, and they show historical collection data, tax years 2016 through 2021. And looking at these charts, you'll see the red section, maroon section, rather, is the amounts that we have collected throughout the years, and the gray section is the tax amounts remaining and then represented as a percentage amount. And I'll focus on the last 2, which are 2020 tax year. We're almost 75% collected of what was turned over to us in July of 21. And then for the 2021 tax year, we've collected over half of what was turned over to us in July of this year. So things are moving right along with collections. And I believe the last time I was here in April, I mentioned to you that we were in the process of doing a tax warrant on a large delinquent personal property account, and happy to report that after executing the tax warrant and many phone calls with many different lawyers, we were able to collect a large delinquency for 2019. They had surprisingly paid 2020 because they had a value dispute with the appraisal district that year. So to have a value dispute with the appraisal district, you have to pay your taxes in advance. And then we collected, so 2020 was bizarrely paid, and then we collected 2021 and an estimated 2022 tax, resolving the account with payment. Although we did seize the property in place, we did not have to do an execution sale, which was good news, and the district got their tax money, and everyone was back to status quo in that situation. So happy to report that. We continue to have tax dockets monthly, and we just had a tax sale November 1st. Tax sales are now online. They're run through a company called Real Auction, and if you want to visit my website, you can get more information on how to sign up, how everything works. There's a link to their website with a Q&A. That's www.pbfcm.com if you're interested in signing up or keeping up or seeing what the tax sales online entail. Interesting world we live in. They seem to be going successfully, so. Any questions? Well, as always, I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you about your delinquent taxes, and happy to field any follow-up questions should you have any.
Do you find any unique challenges in the last year or so? I mean, anything that's kind of different than before?
Surprisingly not, and it's a little shocking. I thought we would see more business closures, and I really have not seen an uptick in delinquent business personal property accounts. They seem to have stayed around the same. So I feel like your district's doing pretty well.
Right. That's good. That's good. Thank you.
So it's surprising to me as well.
That's good.
And maybe we're not done yet.
Yeah. Does anybody else have a question? No? All right.
Thanks again.
Well, thank you very much.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
As always, thanks to Purdue Brandon for, their great work in delinquent taxes, but also for their support of Magnolia ISD, and Leslie for your support of it. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Absolutely, thank you.
All right. Dr. Bullock. Spencer. Hey, you used to have those squeaky shoes. I'm not going to say.
I'm working on that too. We've got a couple of policy revisions. This is local policy CH, CO, and COA local. And we'll bring them to you in one motion here in a second. But the first deals with purchases and acquisitions. So I'm going to let Dr. Morris talk about CH local for a second.
Thank you, sir. So the update that we're asking for this evening takes really 2 things into consideration in CH local. both of which increase efficiencies for processing purposes. Number one, it allows us to move forward with purchases for large ticket items, that which have already been approved by the board via bid or other procurement. So we have a purchasing authority threshold set. This allows us some flexibility with that in terms of not having to wait for the next board meeting to make some of those purchases. And with a $300,000 threshold and a $228 million bond that's coming, I think that increases efficiencies. And I know that Mr. Bruner is excited about that as well. Secondly, it creates greater efficiencies from a federal funds perspective in terms of allowing the superintendent authority to approve the micro purchase threshold each year, as opposed to having to bring it to the board each year. So again, that's very 10,000 foot. I'll be glad to answer any questions in particular about the purchasing authority thing if there are any. But really, we're increasing efficiencies is what we're doing.
All right, the rest of the policy update deals with food service. So you've got CO local and COA local. Every now and then we do a kind of a policy audit and make sure that the fine print of what we're doing is aligned with where we actually are in practice. So both changes to the food service policies deal with those kind of changes, specifically listing the executive director of finance and the child nutrition director as being in charge of procurement and setting geographic boundaries for spending, and then also changing the meal charges. When a student's account has no more money in it, this standardizes at all levels that we would allow them up to 5 meals before they put more funds in their account. So this is stuff we've been doing for a while. It's just getting our policy caught up with it. So any questions or, yes ma'am?
One question. On the lunch, I saw that it's up to 5 meals.
Yes.
So if a family hasn't paid, are we reaching out to them if they're having some issues, maybe family issues or economic issues?
Yes, ma'am. And remember,
We would typically do that, right?
We do.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So there's paperwork they can fill out to get some assistance with that as well.
Okay.
So, because I'm about to have a kiddo that'll graduate, and I don't know, there may be some monies left in there. Have we ever given people the option to put that into a fund to help pay for those kiddos? And because we do have a need in the community, and I don't necessarily want a check back for $10 or whatever, you know.
I mean, Chuck, Mr. Adcock, to my knowledge, we haven't officially, created a fund, if you will, for that, but that's certainly something that we can look into.
I don't know, just a thought. I mean, because I know I would tell you just keep it and give it to a kiddo that needs it.
Absolutely.
No. Is that it?
Need a motion to approve the changes?
All right. So if there aren't any more questions, I don't think there were. I need a motion that the board approve the revisions of local policies CH, CO, and COA. Motion by Sonia, seconded by Travis. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, the board will now recess to move into closed executive session for the purposes permitted by pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072, discussion of purchase, sale, exchange, or value of real property, and pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel discussion/recommendations. Thank you guys for being here. All right, the time is 10:09. I need a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Motion by Gary, seconded by Travis. All in favor? Motion carries. We are adjourned.